जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना। यमुना तीरावनचारी। यमुना जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय श्री श्री राधा कालाचांद भगवान की जय। श्री श्री राधा गोविंद भगवान की जय। श्री श्री गौर निताय की जय। श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा मैया की जय। श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जायामुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमो पङ्कजनाभाय नमो पङ्कजमालिने नमो पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्ग्रे। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यमीश्वरं। नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। योऽन्ता प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां सुप्तान् सञ्जीवयत किल शक्तिधरा स्वधाम्ना अन्यांश हस्तचरणश्रवणात् त्वगादीन् प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं। कथाञ्चना स्मृते यस्मिन् दुष्करं सुकरं भवेत् विस्मृते विपरीतं स्यात् श्रीचैतन्य नमामि तम्।
in US. So thank you for coming again, and we'll welcome Prabhuji with a big Haribol. Haribol! 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 Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu, for your kind introduction. Thank you, everybody, all the devotees of this beautiful community. Shri Radha Kalachandji is very, very attractive, most attractive, very, very merciful. And I feel blessed to be in the shelter of Shri Radha Kalachandji and all the wonderful devotees here at ISKCON Dallas. Thank you. I've been given a topic to discuss with all of you called Enhancing Japa. How many of you chant Hare Krishna Japa every day on your beats? Oh, almost all of you. Thank you. Yes, we all chant Japa. So, and some of you are, I guess, initiated or aspiring to get initiated in spiritual life, become more serious. So, there is only one seva in ISKCON for which we take a vow. Right? Anybody taken a vow during initiation that I'll do deity worship every day? Or I'll hear one Bhagavatam class every day? Or I'll read 5 pages of Bhagavatam or something like that? No. But we take a vow for one spiritual practice. Chanting. So since we take a vow for chanting, I was wondering, might as well do it well, right? And learn how to do it effectively. In fact, last year I was here during Radhashtami, and His Holiness Srila Giriraj Swami Maharaj was giving initiation in the temple hall on Radhashtami day, I think. Yeah. And I was amazed to see devotees take vows. I will chant 25 rounds on Ekadashi. Somebody said I'll chant every day 32 rounds, things like that. I was like, wow. So devotees are very much serious about chanting. But after some time, we see that complacency creeps in, and japa doesn't seem to be a very fulfilling experience. In fact, it becomes a ritual, a dry ritual, a job to get it done with, finish it off. It's a burden. So how do we make japa a very exciting and very happy experience, fulfilling experience? That's what we'll discuss in the next few minutes, and then we can have some questions. There is a verse from the Bhagavatam I would like all of you to repeat after me. It's simple, pay attention. Mriyamano Harer Nama Grinan Putropacharitam Ajamilopagadhama Immuta Shraddhaya. This is the verse which says Mriyamano at the time of death. Mriyamano Harer Nama. Somebody chanted the holy name of Krishna. And actually he was not calling out to Krishna. Grinan Putropacharitam. He was calling out to his name, his son, whose name happened to be God's name. Who is this person? Ajamilopagadhama. Ajamil, and still e-God, destination of the spiritual world. Immuta Shraddhaya Grinan. If this is what somebody gets when he's not chanting purely, what will happen if we chant with faith, with devotion, with love? So there are many techniques, many seminars which teach us how to chant with feeling, how to get the best results out of chanting. From whatever I've heard from Srila Prabhupada and His Holiness Srila Burijan Prabhu Maharaj and His Holiness Bhaktivigyan Goswami Maharaj, I will just share what I have learned from all of them. Ultimately, all techniques, the essence of all techniques and methods to make our chanting a happy experience is based on one principle. Fragrant garland. What are they saying? All the techniques boils down to one phrase. Coming back to Krishna. That is the mother of all techniques. If we can remember this one principle, somehow or the other, we have to come back to Krishna. Wherever we are, like your GPS, even if you take a wrong route, you go somewhere wrong, and then what does the GPS does? Chastise you, scold you. It redirects you to the proper road, right? Similarly, the essence of everything we do in Japa, all the techniques and all the struggles, everything, ultimately, if we can somehow come back to Krishna. Ideally, Japa is what? Japa time, Japa meditation, those 2 hours of meditation we do, that is a time for being with Krishna. But let us admit, are we with Krishna during Japa? We're supposed to be with Krishna, but we are not with Krishna. Therefore, I'm giving a compromise. It's difficult to be with Krishna. Fine, at least no problem. Come back to Krishna. Even if you're not with Krishna, you have wandered away, come back. See, if you take a plane from Dallas to New York, most of the time the plane is off track. But the pilot has a flight map. He knows this destination. He knows where he wants to go. So the winds may throw off the plane from the course. But the success of the plane is not in preventing the plane from going astray, but the success is to come back to the flight map and go to the destination. Similarly, in spiritual practices, especially Japa meditation, many of us suffer because we want to have perfect Japa. We want to always remember Krishna. We want to be with Krishna. We want to control Krishna. You can't control God. You can't control your mind. Therefore, it's okay. Wherever you are, come back to the destination, Krishna. At any time you remember that you are not with Krishna, come back. Anybody here whose mind wanders during Japa, please raise your hand. Wow. Please raise your hand if your mind wanders during Japa. Thank you. All of you are normal and I feel at home. If you had told me, no, Prabhu, my mind doesn't wander during Japa, then I would think you are either a pure devotee or you need to see a psychiatrist. Because mind wandering is normal. In fact, I have a seminar which I do for children on how, to tap the power of mind wandering and how mind wandering is healthy also at certain times. But the point is, mind wandering is normal. But we shouldn't get too bogged down by the fact that my mind wanders. What we need to do is, when we realize my mind wanders, come back. How many of us are guilty of this practice? Sometimes when we are chanting, we remember that my mind is wandering. And instead of coming back to Krishna, we become indulgent with the mind's wandering thoughts and we say, it's okay, Hare Krishna. We become aware sometimes while chanting, and still we have a lackadaisical approach. And while chanting, while praying, the mind is going on a wild tour. I fancy it always like this. In the external world, like for example, right now on my right is the deities, left is Srila Prabhupada, and I'm in the center. In the inner world also, you are in the center. On your right is Krishna. On your left is huge 20-foot tall demon with horns and teeth coming out, who's constantly ranting. Who is that? The mind. The mind is on your left, who's constantly talking. And on your right is Krishna. Japa meditation is all about turning to Krishna and telling Radha Kalachandji, I love you. Please accept me. But we're not able to do that. Because this demon, we have turned to him and we are like nodding our heads. Yes, boss. Yes, boss. Whatever you say, I will do. We are obedient slaves of our mind. We are not the mind, but we are servants of the mind. Our identity is merged with the mind. And therefore, even when we are praying, even when we are chanting, it's not my voice. Japa is all about my voice, discovering my voice and telling Krishna, Krishna, I love you, I want to serve you. But we can't hear our own voice. I don't know if you've experienced sometimes during Kirtan, the mridanga, kartals, vampas, they're so loud that you want to talk something to somebody, you can't hear what they're talking, and in fact, you can't even hear your own voice sometimes. Then you have to go out of the temple hall. So sometimes when I'm chanting, I don't hear my own voice. It's not my voice, it's my mind talking. So then I go outside the room. In the sense, I pick up my journal, I write, I separate myself from my mind. I become more aware. I remember once I was praying to our deities in temple, Radha Gopinath temple, I was praying like this. Krishna, please help Sanjay and Swati. They are going through a divorce. Please help them. This was what I was praying and I was intending to pray. But my mind, I began like this. Krishna, please help them. You know what my mind started saying? It is Swati's fault. She is responsible for the divorce. She is exactly like that girl. You know that girl Neha in London, Birmingham? She's also going through a divorce. And her husband is a good friend, but she's at fault there also. Both of them have the same traits. I'm supposed to be praying to Krishna to help them, but my mind has already started passing judgments on them and saying that she's at fault and she's exactly like that lady in Birmingham in England who is also at fault. And you know that lady Neha, she looks exactly like your sister-in-law, remember? Yes. I'm like, yes. I've forgotten Krishna. I'm supposed to be praying to Krishna to help them. But I've left Radha Gopinath. Now I'm like turning to my mind and nodding my head, and my mind is telling me, Swati is at fault, Neha is at fault, Neha looks exactly like your sister-in-law, and your sister-in-law, she died in that motor accident, remember? She was wearing a helmet, she was safe, and her son was sitting behind, he had no helmet on, but nothing happened to him, and she died on the spot. What has that got to do with the prayer I'm making? What has that got to do with the issue that I'm really affected by? Nothing. But mind is crazy. And then mind didn't stop there. These bus drivers, they're extremely rash. They come and bang into a scooter and people die. So many innocent people die in India. The truck drivers and the bus drivers, they don't know how to drive. And remember that accident, a similar accident you saw outside the High Court in Mumbai in 1993, where an auto rickshaw was banged by a bus and the rickshaw was crushed. Oh, High Court, talking about that High Court, do you remember? You saw that man running with the dragger soaked with blood outside the High Court. And that was exactly like that scene from a movie which you saw in Metro Theatre with your 5 friends, Vikas, Siddharth, Jaideep. Oh, Vikas is in Canada. When are you going to Canada? We should go next year to Canada. Oh, and then Siddharth is in London, and London, Neha's getting divorced, Sanjay, Swati. So I've gone back in time, I've gone to all over the world, and I'm back at the temple praying to Radha Gopinath. Externally, I'm standing like this. And internally, and then some devotee comes and says, Prabhu, you are praying so sincerely. You are so devotional in your prayers, Prabhu. And I'm like, yeah. I've come to pray for everybody. That's our minds. Am I alone in this, or does this story sound familiar to you? Yes. This is what happens during japa. Therefore, during japa or during prayers, mind will wander. But when I remembered or when I realized that my mind is wandering, what do I do? Do I say, oh, I'm helpless, forget it? No, I remembered just now that my mind was wandering. So I come back, Krishna, I'm sorry, I'm back with you now. Please help. So the moment mind wandering is not bad. When you remember that your mind is wandering, what you do, that is what determines namabhavs chanting. But there are 3 types of chanting. One is nam aparad. Aparad means offenses. When we are chanting, we are like completely spaced out. No desire to connect with Krishna. That's nam aparad, offensive chanting. Then there is namabhas chanting, which is like a reflection of the pure chanting. It's almost there, but it's not pure. And we are all supposed to be chanting at namabhas stage. Namabhas chanting is when we chant with the desire to come back to Krishna. And we can do that anytime. The culture, the attitude of wanting to come back to Krishna is namabhas chanting. And when we are at namabhas chanting, Krishna, if he is happy with us, he will award us Shuddha Nam or pure chanting. It's like the ground floor, the first floor and the second floor. Second floor is what? Shuddha Nam, pure chanting, Krishna Prem. Ground floor is Nam Aparad, offensive chanting. So from offensive chanting, from ground floor we have to go to the first floor, which is Namabhas chanting. That's our journey. There are steps, there are staircase, there's a staircase, we climb the stairs and we come to from the ground floor, we come to the first floor. But from Namabhas to Shuddha Nam, there is no elevator, there is no steps. We are stuck there, we have to be there. And when we are at the first floor, if Krishna is happy, then he will pick us up and take us to the second floor. You get this example? But you can't say, I'll be on the ground floor, Krishna pick me up to the second floor. Krishna says, no, you come to the first floor. Then I'll pick you up. Which means we can't be at Namaparad stage and say, Krishna, give me pure love of chanting, pure chanting. Krishna won't give us pure chanting. He won't give us taste if we are at offensive stage. We have to come to Namabhas or enthusiastic chanting. Then Krishna will, if he is happy with this, taste is a gift which Krishna gives. Enthusiasm is our gift to Krishna. See, neglectful chanting is Namaparad. Sincere, enthusiastic chanting is Namabhas. And taste, pure chanting is Shuddhanam. Taste is a gift, it's a reward. We can't achieve love of Krishna. Krishna love is not achieved, it is received. Many of us, we chant, we want japa seminars. The whole idea is I want to control the holy name. I want to control my mind. I'm the greatest. That won't work. For japa meditation, if you want to enhance our japa, we have to somehow come closer to Krishna by coming back to Krishna whenever we see our mind wandering. Is this clear so far? So please go back with this one phrase. Enhancing japa basically means coming back to Krishna, like a plane which has gone off track, just come back. Don't start lamenting, oh, my mind was wandering all these days, I wasted my life. Fine, what do you do now? I was recently hearing a class. Srila Prabhupada gave a series of lectures on 3rd canto of Bhagavatam, 25th chapter, the first week of December 1974 in Mumbai, Juhu. So this December 5 and 6th lecture is extremely, very, very interesting. I just want to share about this point about coming back to Krishna. Where I got inspiration to share this with you is from these 2 classes. So Srila Prabhupada says, Bhakti is all about capturing Krishna. Listen to this. This is amazing Srila Prabhupada's wisdom. He says, Bhakti is about capturing Krishna, like Mother Yashoda captures Krishna by her love. And then he says, but many of us, for us capturing Krishna is out of question. Because we are captured by Maya. We can't capture Krishna. So what is our hope then? Prabhupada says, so we have to choose Krishna. We can't capture Krishna. We have to choose Krishna, which means Maya will give proposal and Krishna will give proposal. So our game is a game of choice. Mother Yashoda's game is game of capturing. She's capturing Krishna. We have to choose Krishna. I remember as Prabhupada was saying this, my mind said, well, I can't even choose Krishna. Many of us are victims of choosing Maya. When we are presented with options, we don't choose Krishna. So then Prabhupada gives third option. What is the first? Capture Krishna. We can't capture Krishna, then what do? We choose Krishna. Prabhupada says, if you can't choose Krishna, then somehow come back to Krishna. Connect with Krishna. See, you may have chosen Maya. Later when you suffer, because choosing Maya means we get beaten, we get suffering. Later on when you are sober, you come back to Krishna and say, Krishna, I made a mistake. At least then you come back. It is not a license to choose Maya. But the point is, come back. Prabhupada says, so somehow connect with Krishna. So immediately registered in my mind. Capture Krishna. Choose Krishna. If you can't choose Krishna, come back. Connect with Krishna. And then I got the thought, no, but it is so difficult to connect with Krishna. We always give excuses. So as if anticipating my excuse, Srila Prabhupada said, it is nonsense to say that we can't remember Krishna ever. Then Prabhupada gives a very funny example. Not a funny, but he gives he's a very observant person. He gives the example of women. He said, have you seen women? They work so hard. and everybody is laughing when he says this, that, oh, the women are working whole day. They're managing house, they're managing children, they're managing their work. So busy. But their hair is always organized. Srila Prabhupada says, however busy the women are, but they take care, what does he say? The exact phrase he uses. But they are very particular about the bunch of hair. And everybody laughs, and in that class, the Prabhupada says, so just like women are careful about their bunch of hair, although they are very, very busy. Similarly, devotee is like a woman. And remembering Krishna is like taking care of the bunch of hair. However busy you are, you can take out some time in the day and, settle yourself. Come back to Krishna. That's the point Prabhupada is saying. Come back to Krishna. So that's Srila Prabhupada's point. So like people take a cigarette break in office. They take, I know people who are, Buddhist meditators, they take a breathing break. So Hare Krishna devotees, we take chanting break or Krishna break or coming back to Krishna break. We want to come back to Krishna, offer a prayer. Krishna, I want to come back to you. Krishna, I love you. Krishna. Somehow. Now, coming back to Krishna means exactly what? So there are a few things we could do externally and internally. I'll just briefly share that. And then maybe we can have some questions. So externally what it means is this. Coming back to Krishna externally means this. Yane prayasamudapasyanamanta eva jivanti sanmukharitam bhavadiya vartam stane sthita shrutigatam tanuvang manobir ye prayasho jita jitopasite strilokyan. The Bhagavatam says that Brahmaji is saying that somehow, wherever you are, whatever situation you are in, hear about Krishna. So what you're doing now is you're coming back to Krishna because you're hearing about Krishna. And then Prabhupada says, the verse, Brahmaji says, the last line, if you do hearing, in whatever situation you are in, e prayaso, this attempt, e prayasho jita jito asite strilokyan, the unconquerable Lord will be captured by you. This is what Srila Prabhupada wanted to originally tell us, capturing Krishna. But the journey begins with hearing about Krishna. Otherwise we become sahajiyas, cheap. I remember Krishna, I love Krishna, Krishna is my darling. We can become, very cheap in our devotional practices. India is a land of sahajiya, loka and mayavad. We have two extremes in India. Either we have mayavadis or we have sahajiyas. So to avoid being sahajiyas, we have to constantly hear about Krishna. So this keeps us externally on track. We come back to Krishna. And the more, what happens when we hear about Krishna regularly? We are inspired to come back. And when we come back, what will happen? If we keep coming back, what will happen? We will be able to choose Krishna. You are right. And when we choose Krishna, then eventually we can capture Krishna. You know the reason why we don't come back to Krishna? There is a psychological reason. See, sometimes you realize you made a mistake, or some things we do, and we realize the mind is wandering, but we don't come back. There is a deep psychological reason, and that is the fear of being judged. See, in this world, when you do a mistake or when you don't honor your promise, you feel ashamed. And then the more than the shame, you're also afraid of being judged. I don't know if you've experienced this. Like I was preaching, and one boy in my class, I said, how many of you promise to chant from tomorrow? So everybody raised their hands after the Holy Name seminar. I said, how many rounds you will chant? 2 rounds every day? 1 round? Everybody, I was wanting them to commit for 1 or 2 rounds. One boy raised his hand and he wanted to kind of get the attention of everyone. He said, I'll chant 16 from tomorrow. I said, no. Go slow. He said, no, Prabhuji, I can chant Krishna's holy name. See, I think he got too fired up after my class. And I was hoping people will start with 1 or 2 rounds, which takes 15 minutes. But he was committing 2 hours of chanting. I'll chant. I said, no, just do it 16. No, Prabhuji, I can. It's very easy. So I didn't say anything. And next day onwards, I never saw him in temple. No, he came for the first few days and then I never saw him. Then I was wondering, and during those days we didn't have mobile phones. I didn't know how to contact him. One day I saw him at the bus stop and he was avoiding me. I ran to him, I caught him. I said, how are you doing? How's your mom? How's everything? And after a few minutes, he said, Prabhu, you're not angry with me? I said, why? What happened? He said, Prabhu, I promised you I'll chant 16 rounds, but I could never chant after that. And I was so scared. I didn't want to come to temple. I thought, what would you say? I said, that's okay. It's perfectly okay. He said, are you sure it's okay? I said, yeah, it's okay. Come to temple. And then I could see a relief on his face. He was fearing that he'll be judged because he made a commitment and he couldn't honor it. So what happens in our relationship with Krishna also, when we make a commitment or when we say something, Krishna, I'm going to chant attentively or I'm going to do this, then when we're not able to do, we don't come back to Krishna because we feel Krishna is like a person of this world who will judge me. See, more than the mistake we do, I think we feel more pain when we are judged. Non-judgmental acceptance is what we seek in this world. And when we don't get it from everybody, we think Krishna will also not give us. But it's different. With Krishna, it's different. Even if you have not honored your commitment, which we shouldn't do, we should honor our commitment. But even if you fail, but when we come back to Krishna, you will see it's a different experience. Krishna is happy. And we have never realized the power of coming back to Krishna. We always feel, no, we are scared. I'll give my own example. Once I made a commitment. See, this is a Christian method I learned from one monastery, an ancient monastery in Europe. So they have this prayer technique which we could also try. Coming back to Krishna. It's similar to our concept of coming back to Krishna. They have 3 steps. They make a commitment to God. And the second, can you imagine what is the first step is to make a commitment to God. What is the second step? Forgiveness. No, you made a commitment to God, and then what is the second step? Honor that commitment. That is the second. But the most important is the third step. What is that? Return and report. This is the key. You made a commitment, then you honor that commitment, but the game changer is you return and report. Oh God, I made this commitment to you. Like I made one commitment once. Krishna, Radha Gopinath, I'm going to appreciate 5 devotees in the next 24 hours because I knew that I'm going to come to the temple hall again the next morning. So Krishna, So then what happened? I went out of the temple hall. I forgot all about my commitment. In the afternoon, I remembered. Then I called up one devotee. I spoke to him. I appreciated him genuinely. Then again, I forgot. I remembered sometimes. I forgot sometimes. And morning when I came in front of the deities, I suddenly remembered, I appreciated only 3 devotees. I promised I'll appreciate 5 devotees. So then a sense of failure creeps in. I'm not good enough. And then we avoid coming back to Krishna. But when I came back and I gave a report, this is what I promised, this is what I did. Whether you succeed or you don't, but to come back and report, you start experiencing Krishna as a person. Therefore, coming back to Krishna is very, very important. So these are the 2 steps externally we could do. First, there are 2 steps externally we could do to hearing, to come back to Krishna. First is hearing, and second is returning and report or offering a commitment and then acting on it. So these are the two things we could do. Internally, there is an amazing principle that we could follow. Immediately you'll be able to come back to Krishna and experience Krishna's presence, and that is somehow bring emotions into your chanting. How many of you here are initiated devotees? Please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Thank you. So many of you. Thank you. So when you are initiated, we commit to chant every day minimum of 16 rounds. Now, if we add emotions into the japa, then we'll be easily able to chant 16 happily. Because emotions is a game changer. Emotions, this word is derived from the Latin word called emovere, which means movement. So emotion is that energy which moves you, which shakes you, which makes something happen in you. So human beings, we are what? We are emotional beings. I know some of you will say, Prabhu, we have heard in sociology that human beings are rational beings. Have you heard this? We are rational beings. Well, I politely, humbly disagree. We are rational beings, but that rationality is a tip of the iceberg. It's on the top. 99% below is emotions. And even that rationality we have, believe it or not, that rationality we use to justify our emotions only. Ultimately, all our rationality is for emotions. Oh, I don't like him. But then all the rationality will come on how he is a bad person. So, emotions, we need, now we have no idea what emotions are because our identity is merged with these emotions. So, Bhagavad Gita explains all material emotions are basically a permutation and combination of three: raga, bhaya and krodha, attachment, fear and anger. And all this combines to form different emotions that we go through. This is one end of the spectrum. The other end of the spectrum is spiritual emotions, which is described in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami, Nectar of Devotion, all the different bhavas and different waves. And that's like foreign, Greek and Latin. We just don't know what it is. Spiritual emotions, we have no idea what it is. Material emotions, we are too familiar, over familiar with. How do I experience spiritual emotions? How do I enter that island when I'm stuck in this island of material emotions? I need a bridge. I need a bridge to cross over to the spiritual emotions and to experience Krishna. And that bridge is a bridge of gratitude. If you can somehow practice gratitude every day and many times in a day, you will see this gratitude. Practically, it will expand your heart. You can see your heart become big. See, material emotions, they shrink your heart. They make you very defensive, fearful, insecure. But gratitude opens up. I remember once His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj did an experiment in his interactive Japa seminar. He told all of us to chant, and then he said, wait, hold your breath. Okay, now inhale, exhale. He made us breathing. You do some breathing exercise, and then he said, have you ever received selfless love any time in your life from anybody? I ask the same question to you. Have you ever received a generous act, a kind act from someone without expecting anything from you? At least once or twice. Anybody here has experienced that? Oh, almost all of you. We all have benefited from somebody's kindness, right? So then Maharaj made a beautiful statement. He said, meditate on that person. He said, because that love you got is actually a glimpse of Krishna's love. Because Krishna loves us selflessly. So somebody in this world gave you that love. So then he said, remember that person and chant this one round. And thank Krishna for sending that person in your life. And then see what happens. So we chanted one round, connecting to that person who helped us. And then in that space we chanted and thank Krishna for sending that person in our life. At the end of it, we could see that the japa was much better. It was a japa filled with emotions of gratitude. And then when we chant like this, in this space of gratitude, we can slowly move to the space of, it becomes easier to move into the space of offering. Krishna, I offer this japa to you. Krishna, I offer my life to you. Krishna, I am yours. Please accept. And you know, the best part about this is, coming back to Krishna is so hope-giving, because Krishna is not expecting you to become a pure devotee to accept your offering. He can accept your offering even at whatever stage you are right now. Do you know this famous story of Krishna and Durvas Muni and Draupadi? Do you know what it is? What is the story? Yes. What is the story of Krishna, Draupadi and Durvas Muni? Anybody knows? Wait. I see that hand there. Yes, please.
For any people, but when she eats, then she can't. There won't be any more.
Yes.
And then after she had done eating, Durvasa Muni and all the sages came, and then there was only one grain left in the bowl.
Yes.
And then she thought that how am I gonna cook for all of them? And then there was only one grain left, so she cooked and she fulfilled all of their desires.
No, Krishna came there. But thank you for sharing the story. Haribol. Thank you. Thank you for this. So she panicked because she thought, how am I going to feed 60,000 disciples of Durvas Muni? She'd already cooked, all the Pandavas had already eaten, and there was no food left. She said, what will I do? But then she remembered Krishna. Krishna came there and told her, give me food. She said, but I don't have any food left. He said, no, see the pot. And Krishna saw one grain. Krishna said, this is sufficient for me. He took that. And when he took that, all the sages also were fully satisfied. And they were scared now because they are supposed to go and take prasad at Yudhishthir's place. And they were not coming. So Krishna sent Bhima. Said, Bhima, you go and call them. And they ran away. And that's another story. But the point is, Krishna was not expecting chappan bhog. Just one grain of rice. So you may think, Prabhu, I wasted my life. I wasted my 50 years of life. I have done no devotional service. No problem. Now, whatever life is left is one grain. I tell Krishna, Krishna, I'm 52. I didn't do any bhakti till now. But now, whatever is there, I'm offering now. You took one grain of rice from Draupadi. You can take my remaining life also. I think we should connect to Sudama better. Sudama had taken old, stale, chipped rice and he was not even offering it to Krishna. He was hiding it from Krishna. What did Krishna do? Krishna forcefully took it away. And then Sudama later on, he chants this verse in the Bhagavatam. Kvaham daridra papiyan kwa Krishna Shri Niketana Brahma bandoriti smaham bahubhyam parirambita. This is a beautiful verse. Can you repeat after me? Kvaham daridra papiyan kwa Krishna Shri Niketana Brahma bandoriti smaham bahubhyam parirambita. He's saying, Kwaham, where am I, a fallen beggar? Kwaham daridra papiyan, I am sinful. Kwa Krishna Shri Niketana, where is Krishna, the husband of goddess of fortune? What a difference between us. But what did he do? Brahma bandhuriti smam, I am useless, fallen Brahmana. But what did he do? Bahubhyam parirambita, he embraced me, he hugged me. So, and he didn't give it to Krishna. Krishna forcefully snatched it from him. So we could pray, Krishna, you took from Sudama, although he was not offering you. I want to offer you, but my mind and senses are not allowing me to come back to you. I am helpless, Krishna. But if you can snatch from Sudama, you can also take from me. Please take my life. Let me offer my heart, my service, my love only to you. So we can somehow make, somewhere with that sincere desire we need to express. There's another beautiful poem, I don't remember it now. Alwar, South Indian poet, he wrote this poem on Lord Ram. He says, every devotee has a favorite place of the Lord. Some devotees love Krishna of Vrindavan. There are some devotees who say Krishna of Kurukshetra is my favorite. Like India's Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, he came to ISKCON temple many years ago for Janmashtami. And he told all the devotees,
in his characteristic Hindi. He said, all of you worship Krishna, I also worship Krishna. But the difference is you love Krishna of Vrindavan, I love Krishna of Kurukshetra. So somebody likes Krishna of Kurukshetra, somebody likes Krishna of Dwarka. I know many Pushti Margis, they love Dwarkadish Krishna. So he says, this Alvar says, similarly, my dear Lord, devotees love you differently. Some devotees love Lord Ram of Ayodhya, some love Lord Ram of Chitrakoot, some love Lord Ram of Godavari, Nasik. And he says, but my dear Lord, I love you. I love Lord Ram of Lanka. And what is that? Why? Then he says, because every other place you were welcome and you were invited. You were wanted. But in Lanka you were not wanted. But still you forcefully went there to take Mother Sita. Similarly, my heart is Lanka. I don't want you to come here. I'm so away from you. But I want you to forcefully enter my heart just like you entered Lanka and take my soul, which is like Sita. Please take me back to your shelter. So this aspiration, somewhere at the corner, at the bottom of our heart, somewhere we have to somehow invoke that sincerity. Then we have hope. Somehow we have to get that emotion in place, and then we will experience Krishna's love in our life. So to summarize, I spoke about, I don't know, I began with coming back to Krishna is the key, like a flight map, we have to come back. And then we spoke about the external and internal ways we can come back. Oh, I spoke about Namaparad, 3 types of chanting. Namaparad, Namabhas, and Shuddhanam. Before that, I spoke about how our mind prevents us from connecting to Krishna. I gave the story of my prayer session, where my mind went all over the world and also in different time zones. My mind went back in time and all that. But then somehow I came back. So we also need to come back and understand who is on your right side? Krishna. On your left? Mind. Huge, nasty mind. And we are not our mind. Somehow we have to stop. So bhakti, japa meditation means our neck is turned on our left side. We turn it back and come back to Krishna. Coming back to Krishna is turning the neck to the right side. And then 3 types of chanting. Namaparad is offensive chanting, worse chanting, neglectful chanting. And Namabhas is sincere, enthusiastic chanting. And Shuddhanam is taste. And taste is what? Can we get taste? It's Krishna's gift, it's received. What we can practice is enthusiasm. And then I spoke from Prabhupada's lecture. What is the highest goal in Krishna consciousness? Capture Krishna. But we can't capture Krishna, so what do? We choose Krishna. If we can't choose Krishna, we somehow come back to Krishna. And how to come back, we discussed. Prabhupada gives a funny example for that. Taking care of the bunch of hair. So, how do we come back? Externally and internally? Externally, we come back by hearing and returning and report. So, we spoke about those 3 steps the Christians follow. Make a commitment, honor the commitment, and even if you fail, return and report. And that's the external. And internally, what do we need to do? We need to somehow add emotions. And what is the bridge from material emotions to spiritual emotions? Gratitude. And we could begin by remembering a person who has given us something selflessly and understand there is a glimpse of Krishna's love and see our heart expand. And from that space, we can learn to offer everything to Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any comments or questions? Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much. My question is in relation to the thing about the stairs. So from Namaparad, we need to do the work to get up to the 1st floor of Namabhas. And from then we just need to keep doing Namabhas and waiting for Krishna to come down and pick us up and give us a taste? Or is there something that special that we need to do to induce Krishna to give us the mercy?
Yes, beautiful. So at Namabhas stage, you see the whole idea is somehow our remembrance of Krishna. See what Rupa Goswami says? The essence of sadhana bhakti is what? Essence of the bhakti we are doing is what? Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. And Rupa Goswami also says, Yena kena prakarena manha Krishna niveshayet. Somehow or other fix your mind on Radha Kalachandji's lotus feet. Now the problem is, many of us, we are bhakti yogis, but we practice dhyan yoga. In the sense, we are like yogis. We try to control. We think it's some exercise that I have to do and get Krishna. So the remembrance of Krishna also, we think it's some technique. So we have to slowly move from intellectual remembrance of Krishna to emotional remembrance of Krishna. Please understand this. This is very, very important. Our remembrance of Krishna is many times intellectual. Okay, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna was born in Mathura. His father took him to Vrindavan. At the age of 9, he came to Mathura. And he went to Sandipani Muni's Gurukul. He defeated Jarasandha 17 times. Then he killed this demon. And this demon came. All that we know. It's like falling in love with Krishna's biodata. We have his biodata with us. Okay, Krishna has done all of this. So I know everything, Prabhuji, about Krishna. That's good. That's purifying because we are remembering Krishna. And Krishna is not different from his name, his pastimes. 100%. I'm not undermining remembering Krishna like this. But Namabhas stage, when we are chanting with a desire to improve, we need to slowly move from intellectual remembrance to emotional remembrance. How do we do that? I don't know. See, I saw one memorial program like this in a temple hall where devotees were sitting like this, and one Mataji had left her body. So everybody was glorifying her. So then her son came to speak in the end. He said, my mother was married to my father when she was 13 years old. And she came to Mumbai from a small village and she learnt English. She completed her education. My father was very kind and very cooperative, and she was also very intelligent. And then my mother learnt English, Hindi, Spanish. She gave so many qualifications of her. And then as we were struggling, as I was born when she was 16. So he's giving all that. You see what he's doing initially, he was just giving the biodata. He was giving the information of his mother. And then he said, and then, we went through a big financial crisis, and my mother was eating once in 3 days so that we 4 children could get food. And now he was entering into the emotional space. So initially, first 5 minutes when he was talking about her childhood or coming to Mumbai, he was just rattling off information. And I could see that intellectual remembrance was in play. But then when he started saying how his mother struggled and how she, she stretched herself so much for the family, his eyes became moist, his voice choked up. And as he entered that space, he was remembering mother now also, but it was a completely different experience. So with Krishna also, we remember Krishna intellectually, which is good, but we need to somehow have emotional remembrance of Krishna. And that will make Krishna consciousness beautiful and fulfilling. Is that okay? Yes, Mataji, thank you.
Hi, Krishna Prabhu, thank you so much. I want to thank you for 2 shloka that I have learned from you. One is Kathanjana Smita Yasmin and Siddhanta Bolya Chitta. So thank you so much, Prabhu. And I have 2 questions. First one, you said that in the 16th round, we can get emotional thinking of the person, who's shown a glimpse of Krishna by unconditional love. What do we do with the other 15 rounds?
No, I didn't say 16th round. I said any time, when you are disconnected from Krishna and you are not experiencing emotions, gratitude is a very easy way. See, what I'll tell you, one of the challenges devotees face. Why they find spiritual japa very boring or austere is because we are emotional beings, right? And and there is no emotion in sattva guna. Japa is a sattva guna practice. You are just supposed to meditate and be with Krishna, Hare Krishna, just to be present. Being present and mindful is an emotionless state. See, we are attracted by Rajoguna and Tamoguna because they are very intense emotional states. You could be like, passionate about something, or you could be cursing someone, lamenting. So, Tamoguna and Rajoguna are more attractive for all of us. Sattoguna is a very boring state. That is why devotees find Sattoguna practices like chanting or hearing Bhagavatam class, they're not excited. But Sattva Guna can also become emotional if we add gratitude, because gratitude is in a space of Sattva. That's how we can be happy in Sattva Guna state and continue chanting for a long time. So you can remember other devotees.
I have a second question. This is not from the class.
Okay, before you say that, before you ask that question, see what I mean by Sattva Guna, I just Jai Shri Radha Kalachand Bhagwan ki Jai, Shri Radha Govind Bhagwan ki Jai, Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Maiya ki Jai, Gaur Nitai ki Jai. Can I continue? Yeah. See, the idea behind chanting is 16 rounds is there is a beautiful class of Srila Prabhupada. I would request you to hear this. This is my favorite class, July 4, 1971, Los Angeles. It is there on YouTube. It's called Just Learn to Love Krishna. It's a 15-minute class, just 15 minutes, but the YouTube video shows you 30 minutes because I think they have added another class in that video. So in this 15-minute class, at least 5 or 6 times Prabhupada gives us the success in chanting. See, you know this famous story, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes to South India and there is this Brahman who can't read Bhagavad Gita. You know this story? He was reading Bhagavad Gita, illiterate, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asks him, what are you reading? So Prabhupada, I'm paraphrasing, actually this is the exact words of Prabhupada. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you are reading Bhagavad Gita, but you are crying and you are illiterate. So he says, I'm not reading, I'm feeling. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, what is that? The Brahmana said, I am reading, I am seeing, I am thinking that Krishna is become chariot driver of Arjuna. And when I remember Krishna, God has become driver of Arjuna, I start feeling Krishna is so nice, Krishna is so kind, and I start crying. And then Prabhupada paused. Prabhupada said, so this is success in Krishna consciousness. We have to feel Krishna is so kind, Krishna is so nice. At least 5 times Prabhupada says in this 15 minutes, Krishna is so kind, Krishna is so nice. Are we feeling this? We have to do something during our chanting by which we can feel that Krishna is so kind, Krishna is so nice. Then we are successful. I remember once I spoke this one girl, she was 9 years old, and she raised her hand and she said, Prabhu, but I don't feel Krishna is so nice, Krishna is so kind because he drove Arjuna's chariot. So then I said, but Krishna is driving your chariot also. Then I asked the audience, how many of you have ever been in a road driving your car where you felt you almost had a fatal accident, you had a close shave? Anybody here? See, so many of you. Even that girl raised her hand. I said, that means Krishna was driving your chariot. Right? So Krishna is so nice, Krishna is so kind. Somehow we have to connect to that. Otherwise, what is that verse in the Bhagavatam? Dharma sanushtita pumsa vishvaksenu katasuya notpade tediratim shame. It's all useless labor. Prabhupada would often quote the 6th canto verse. Naradito yadi harim tapasa tata kim. Naradito yadi harim tapasa tata kim. What is the use of all of this? Therefore, we have to somehow connect to this principle. Yasmin vigyate sarvam evam vigyatam bhavati. Somehow, Krishna is so nice. Krishna is so kind. Is that okay? Yes.
I had another question.
Okay. I don't know if we have to ask someone else and then come back to you.
Yes.
Yes, there is a hand here.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much for the class. My question is that if our goal is to go back to Godhead, then what's the difference between chanting without consciousness of the God, like Odamil did, and chanting with full consciousness of God and going back to like Godhead?
Chanting without consciousness of God, difference between that and chanting by remembering God.
Yeah, and going like back to
Yeah. Chanting without consciousness of God, we'll become yogis. We'll not experience rasa. We'll not experience a relationship with God. But when we chant by remembering God, then we experience a relationship. See, ultimately, we want a relationship with God. And then ultimately we don't even want to go back to Godhead. Honestly, you ask any sincere devotee. I know one devotee in Chowpatty, Anand Vrindavan Prabhu. He always speaks about going back to Godhead. Always. I one day asked him, Prabhu, if Krishna tells you are not coming back to Godhead and you will never come back to Godhead, and that is Krishna's final order, what will you do? Immediately he said, I will accept it because ultimately I want to please Krishna. So the idea is we want a relationship with Krishna where we want to please Krishna. Our goal is not going back to Godhead. Our goal is to make Krishna happy. So when we chant consciously, this is what will happen. We'll experience a relationship. That's why Prabhuji could say, if he was a yogi, he would say, no, I want to chant, control my mind, I want to go back to Godhead, it's all about me. But chanting in a relationship, you know what will happen? If you chant with remembering Krishna with gratitude, you will realize that there is something higher than gratitude also. See, right now we speak so much about gratitude, but gratitude is just the beginning in chanting. Let me explain this. There are two things which are higher than gratitude. Of course, when I say higher, it is not a vertical scale. Generally, we think in terms of vertical, gratitude is lower, then something higher. No, it's cyclical. It begins with gratitude, then there are two other emotions, then again it comes back to gratitude. So first is gratitude. Thank you, Krishna, thank you. But gratitude is all about myself generally. I got so much, Krishna. Thank you so much for you gave me so much. It's all about me somewhere. So higher than gratitude is, Prabhupada says in this one class I heard, he says, after gratitude, devotees also practice dependence on Krishna. Dependence means, gratitude means, thank you, Krishna, you gave me so many gifts. Dependence means, Krishna, it is impossible for me to get all of this. I am dependent on you. You are the one who has made it possible. In this class, Srila Prabhupada gives the example of Dr. Homi Jahangir Baba, who was a nuclear scientist, was going for his planning commission meeting and he died on the way. Prabhupada says he was the chairman of the planning commission, but he couldn't plan his own death. We all are so vulnerable. We are so dependent. Srila Prabhupada would often say, if somebody told him, we are going to Chennai tomorrow, Prabhupada would say, Krishna willing. Krishna. So I'm dependent on Krishna. So from gratitude, we go to dependence. And from dependence, we go higher to acceptance or surrender to Krishna's will. Whatever Krishna wants, I will do. So Anandavan Prabhu could easily make the transition from gratitude to dependence to finally Krishna, whatever you desire. So that happens when there is rasa, when there is a relationship. Okay? Yes. Yes, Prabhu. We'll take your question and then please somebody tell me when to stop. Okay. No, we'll take another 5 minutes.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, so my question was in this material world, we have been trained a lot to repress our emotions and not feel them, and especially gratitude and all. In that case,
sorry, what is that? We have been
repress our emotions.
We have been taught to suppress our emotions.
Yes. So in that case, when we are working on probably gratitude, developing the gratitude, that's a lot of work itself which needs to be done. How would we put that with chanting?
You think gratitude is a lot of work, and you are saying how to put that hard work into chanting. Well, if you don't...
Not a lot of work, but probably developing, making the emotions sprout.
Okay, so do you have a choice? Okay, let us say we don't add gratitude, we just chant. How long will you chant? The chanting will be without... And gratitude is not stressful. In fact, even if you don't feel grateful for something, just search for what I am grateful for, you will feel happy. Sometimes, I have a gratitude journal I write every day morning. Sometimes I have nothing to write. My mind is blank. I'm like, what am I grateful for? Nothing comes out. But then I'm searching, what am I grateful for? That search itself makes me, it expands my heart. Even if you're not grateful for something, just asking this question, what am I grateful for? So what is the problem in gratitude? It's not difficult, and I think it's unfortunate that we've been taught to suppress these kind of emotions. Krishna says in the Gita, Nigraham kim karishyasi. Can't just suppress. So we have to overcome our lower nature but we can't suppress our emotions. We have to see, we have to allow it to be in the surface of our consciousness and see it for what it is objectively and deal with it. And gratitude is what will make us happy. Okay. I'll ask a question. Are happy people grateful? Yes? Not necessary. Happy people may not be grateful. But are grateful people happy? Yes. In fact, I have come to the realization after my own struggles that it's better to be grateful than to be happy. Because happiness in this world is very fleeting. It's like seasons that come and go. In fact, happiness is dangerous. The Gita says happiness leads to misery. You know how it leads to misery? If you decode it, what actually happens when you get happy, you become greedy. You want more happiness. And when you become greedy, you become entitled. And that entitlement makes you ungrateful. And that ingratitude makes you miserable. So that's how happiness leads to misery. But if you're grateful, even if you're not happy, you're miserable, but because you're grateful, you're peaceful. Like one devotee lost his father. He was sad. He was lamenting. Understandably so. But when I met him, he was very peaceful. He says, Prabhu, the last 10 days, I'm only remembering my father with gratitude. All the things he's done for me. So I am sad, but because he's always been grateful, in that sadness, he is also, I don't know how to explain this. He was not happy that he lost his father. But he was sober, stable, peaceful. So I think we should seek gratitude as a practice more than searching for being happy. I don't know if this makes sense. And I'll come back to you, Mataji. I'll just complete my flow of thought. So it's very important. Okay. If you have a choice, all of you here, 2 choices. Become very, very rich. 1 choice. Krishna says, I give a choice. You become a billionaire. 2nd choice. You feel rich. You feel you're a billionaire. What would you prefer? Feel rich. You are saying that, but I know what you're thinking. You are thinking, both, Prabhuji, both. Right? So we know feeling rich is better than being rich. Why? Because when you feel rich, you don't have to worry about paying taxes. You don't have to worry about all the other anxieties that come with being rich. And gratitude practice will make you feel rich. Gratitude is amazing. Although I said it's a launching pad. Eventually we want to rise from gratitude to dependence, and from dependence to I love, surrender, Krishna, I am yours. I accept. Ashlisha Padaratam is a goal. But to reach there, we have to begin with gratitude. So it's not, you're trying to map everything. You're thinking it's something new I have to add to my chanting. No, chanting is impossible without gratitude. This just shows the disease we all have. We have reduced chanting to a dry ritual, a mechanistic process that we just have to get it done. Is that okay? Yes, Anuradha. No, Mataji, I'll take your question first and then I'll take your question. Is that okay? Yeah? Yeah. Yes. Ishwari Karan. Yes.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for a wonderful class. Actually, I was thinking how to put my question. So maybe, actually, you said that we can bring emotions in our chanting. So I was thinking that when we are bringing emotions in our chanting, it could be possible that our mind is like
Yes.
reeling back in
Yes.
those
Yes.
episode, what happened,
Yes.
and isn't it like again diverting our mind and
Yeah.
getting into Maya?
Yeah, you are right. I'm glad you asked this question. See, I just focused on emotions today, but there is more to it. Most people, something interesting, people who do introspection, We think introspection is very important, analysis, self-analysis, reflection. But research has proven that these kind of people, they are more depressed than those who don't do introspection. Now, does that mean we are saying don't do introspection? No. People do it wrongly. So emotions also, we need to handle it intelligently. Like people who do introspection, they ask questions. The people who look for meaning in life, there is a research done. Somebody lost their wife or husband, and then they are thinking, what is the meaning of life? And why this happened to me? They are more miserable because they ask this question, why? Why this happened? See, if your emotions is in the space of why this happened to me? Krishna, why I am suffering? Why? This why question, instead of giving you answers, it makes you fixated on the problem. Do you get what I'm saying? You go back to the issue more than you are not able to move on. If you ask why, then you are investing emotions. That why will drag you back. It's like you're driving, and imagine you're looking at the rear view mirror when you're driving. What will happen? You keep looking at the rear view mirror. It'll crash. So emotions, if they are taking you past, जिंदगी समझना है तो पीछे देखो, जिंदगी जीना है तो आगे देखो. If you want to understand life, you may look backwards, but to live life, you have to go forward. Similarly, if your emotions are in the space of why and you're looking back, that's dangerous. So instead of why, ask the question what. So when in a space of emotions, what is really meaningful to me? What can I do now to come back to Krishna? What can I do now to offer my heart to Krishna? That what question is more important than why? If your emotions are making you, see, basically you have to ask a simple question. Am I getting stuck or am I going forward? If I'm getting stuck, stop your thinking, feeling, act. Something wrong happening there. If you're moving forward, continue. Is that okay? You need to go from the why to what. Oh, why is my boss so bad with me? Why is he giving me a poor report in my performance appraisal? Why is my boss and me so different? This is why. This is not going to help. What can I do to improve my relationship with my boss? What can I do to get a better work appraisal report? That what takes you forward. Somebody was diagnosed with cancer. Why am I getting this disease? I'm so fallen. Why like this? What is really meaningful for me now? What can I do to add value to my life and others' life? So this way, when we do introspection, then our emotions are more healthy. They take us forward. Otherwise, when you are in the world of emotions, you can be trapped by the mind. Because intelligence, unfortunately, intelligence should help us know better, but our intelligence is unfortunately a servant of the mind. So therefore, emotions can be disastrous if we are not under proper direction. But today I wanted to make a point about coming back to Krishna. So in that context, I was saying add emotions. Okay? Hare Krishna. Yes, we'll take one last question. Anuradha Mataji.
Hi Krishna. Like this is not exactly from the class, but this is like you mentioned about Srila Prabhupada a few days back on one of your video where you said that it's easy to die for Krishna than to die for Srila Prabhupada than to live for Srila Prabhupada. I wanted to hear from little more because it's just a 1 minute video that I have heard, and I often feel it's really very, very hard to live for Srila Prabhupada than to die for Srila Prabhupada. And this is coming from Srila Prabhupada's disciples saying, I want to take, I want to give you my life. And then Prabhupada said, go for it. So.
Yeah, basically what happened was when Srila Prabhupada was leaving this world in Vrindavan, he was very old, that he was 82 years old and he was leaving this world. So one disciple told Srila Prabhupada that, Prabhupada, I pray to Krishna that he takes away my youth and gives it to you, and I can take your old age instead. This is like the story from Bhagavatam. Yati and Puru, you know that story? So he is telling, just like he exchanged his youth with his father for his old age. So this disciple thought Prabhupada would be happy He said, Prabhupada, let me take your old age and let my youth come to you so that you can preach more and deliver everyone. Prabhupada appreciated his sentiment, his sincere desire to please him. But then Prabhupada said this famous statement, your love for me will be shown by how much you cooperate with each other. So we know this quote of Prabhupada, but we don't know the context. This was the context. That means Prabhupada was saying, it's easy to die for me. But if you really love me, cooperate with each other and live with them. So in that context, I said it's easier to die for Prabhupada than to live. Because to live for Prabhupada, we have to tolerate each other. We have to tolerate so many false egos. And that's very difficult in Kali Yuga. But if we love Srila Prabhupada, we have to tolerate. Because just like somebody is tolerating me, we are like those porcupines. These porcupines, they have this sharp, that spike, it comes out. So there is a porcupine community. They were living in a forest. Very cold. So they felt a lot of warmth when they came together. And when they came together, they felt warm. But then, because they have these sharp spikes, these porcupines kept hitting each other. Oh, you're hitting me. You're hitting me, hurting me. So then one of the porcupines said, no, I'm leaving you. I'm not happy here. Everybody's hurting, pricking me. So when the porcupine left, what happened? The cold was killing. So it came back. It came back, some other porcupine is hitting you. So you have a choice. Either you allow the cold to kill you or little spikes of the other porcupines to hit you. So we are in the association of devotees. Sometimes the false egos clash. If we leave Sangha, then where will we go? What shelter? How will we live? Material world is ready to devour us. These devotees with all the differences, if we are dying, they'll come and chant Hare Krishna for us. And we don't know when we will die. We don't know what sufferings we have to go through. So, it's tough. It's not easy, but, false ego. That's in that context I was saying that.
Thank you, bro. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Shall we stop here? It's 8:25. Thank you once again. My sincere gratitude to all the devotees. And if I have said anything inappropriate, please forgive me. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Radha Kalachand Bhagwan ki jai. Radha Govind Bhagwan ki jai. Gaur Nitai ki jai. Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Maya ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. His Grace Vraj Bihari Prabhu ki